Okay, welcome everyone to the public proposal review call for ZK Sync. Today is August 20th. It's a Thursday and it's roughly 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking about a few different topics. The main one being looking at the recent proposal that has been submitted on chain, GAP5. So I'll pass it over to Alicia, who'll give a quick overview. And then afterwards, we'll get a quick update from Stephen on V31. And then we'll have an open discussion, open Q&A on where we go from here and how we can maybe look at different ways and to manage this call overall. Before we start, a quick shout out to Shelby. She's been handling these proposal review calls for the past couple of years. I think it has been almost 2 years, has it been? And with that being said, she's moved on to a career break, so we're really going to miss her. She's still available via Telegram, her usual contact information. So if you have questions or want to reach out, please do. So with that, I'll pass it over to Alicia to give a quick update on GAP5. Alicia, would you like me to share, or would you like to share the screen?
Yeah, you can share your screen if you just want to pull it up. Okay, GAP5 is very simple. There are no on-chain consequences of the execution. It's kind of a change to the language that is being used related to emergency upgrades. And the change is that instead of using the term emergency upgrade, the updated term will be instant upgrade, and then there'll be two kind of tiers of classification, which is one, a security patch, and two, an emergency response. And kind of part of the reason for this, well, one of the main reasons I think everyone for sure on this call has experienced this firsthand, which is the AI kind of saturation of everything, especially in kind of code reviews and things like that, has really taken off in 2026. It's not just kind of crypto and blockchain that's affected, it's like open source, kind of GitHub wide. And so a consequence of this is just the changing nature of kind of vulnerabilities that are disclosed, or bugs and exploits that are potentially discovered, is happening at a rate that hasn't happened before, and certainly wasn't happening when the procedures were created, when governance was launched 2 years ago. So this is kind of just an update to align our governance procedures related to emergency upgrades with the times that we're currently in. And then the other thing is just like the term emergency upgrade, as more and more often it relates to a security patch, I think we'll find it kind of creates this like unnecessary reaction amongst stakeholders potentially that doesn't align to the action that's been taken. And so that's the reason for stepping out those two classifications of a security patch and an emergency response. So an emergency response is specifically when there is like an active security incident that is happening, and there needs to be kind of, a war room and all hands on deck and all that sort of stuff, which is a very different kind of scenario. And then there's a disclosure framework as well. It's just a notice and a report. So something to note just about that, I think there might be, and we might have to address this kind of going forward as it happens, but the notice will be published as well only when it is safe for that notice to be published based on other chains that also need to update and upgrade. And so while there may be, say, execution on ZK Sync error, it may not be safe to disclose that until other chains have updated. But that's, at whatever the point is where the Security Council feel comfortable making that disclosure is when that will be made. And then there will also be an expectation of a report to follow up with all of the instant upgrades so that there is a bit of a debrief. That's it. So the consequences are really if this proposal is approved, then we will update the governance procedures and look to update the bylaws of relevant entities. For example, the Security Council bylaws reference like the term emergency upgrade and what happens in that situation. So that would just need a refresher. That's basically it for this proposal.
I would like to add a little bit of color here. So, Alicia, internally when the Security Council reached out with regards to this, one of the things that it kind of triggered was an overall review of governance design. For folks listening on the call, zk-Sync governance was designed in large part starting in Q4 2023 and throughout 2024. And this was pre-AI, but also during the L2 retail chain boom, which we know that the overall roadmap of the industry as a whole has kind of shifted to both interoperability, but also institutional adoption. And zk-Sync Providium as a primitive for that has really tried to play a big role in that transition. So one of the things that's actively happening right now is that Alicia and I, we're aware that this is a very important change that needs to happen for emergency upgrade classification, but we're taking a step back and looking at the entire governance as a whole and how it fits into the broader institutional adoption roadmap. If you have ideas or have you seen other ecosystems come with new changes or recommendations on how to approach governance with institutional partnerships, I think we would be very grateful for you to reach out and let us know. I'll open up for questions. Stephen, Rika, any questions with regards to this? I know that Matter Labs, as a Security Council member, has also been sent their proposal for review. And I see that they've already voted.
Yeah, no questions on our side. We are fully in support of this. Just to reiterate what both Alicia and Rafa have been saying, we are living in a new world right now where every week or every month there's a new class of AI models that are able to dive in and dissect code and present new security vulnerabilities left and right. I think I speak for everyone in the crypto space when you see these hacks happening left and right all over the place. It's super important for the Security Council to do this in order to, get ahead of it and align the zk-Sync network with the new reality. And unfortunate as it is, I believe that this is just the beginning of we're going to see a lot more attacks like this via AI, especially as open source AI gets better and more powerful. So I think security councils and governance bodies need to take these proactive steps. We think that it's a very important thing to do just to make sure that everyone stays safe. So yes, Matter Labs is in full support, and we believe that this should be the future of governance and security situations.
We'll chime in really quickly. Also, I don't have a question, more of a comment. I did vote on this proposal earlier today, so I really had a chance to review it, voted on behalf of Axia Network. I say from our perspective, the AI part is absolutely critical. More so though, what I've been seeing, what Axia has been seeing is a lot of what Rafa said with the institutional piece. So if you're an institution and hopefully the institutions will begin to participate in governance at some point, if that's the case, we have to create the right type of system for them. And that's really something that I've been advocating for and trying to do also my part in. So if the institutions see that there's an emergency security upgrade that needs to be made, it might cause them to mechanic, and it's really not the intent of governance. So we all in all, I just want to say that I think it's really important that governance and ZK governance is able to evolve governance in a way to make it easier and possible for institutions to get onboarded.
Okay. With that being said, we can move on to the next topic. Stephen, do you have a quick update on V31? I'm aware that it's been a bit of time, so kind of curious from your side. I know there was a post in the forum too, kind of asking for a quick update, so I wanted to know how the research has been going. I know technically it's been approved. Security Council is in the review period, so just wanted to check in.
Yes. So V31 was approved and passed the vote, I believe, late July. So usually there wouldn't be this long of a stretch in between when it is passed and when it's executed on L1. This also kind of plays back into what the gap is talking about with how, and I think it also and we think that it shows how important the Security Council is, because during every protocol review, after it is passed by governance vote, the Security Council then reviews it a final time before anything is applied. And during this Security Council review, there were some issues that were identified that needed to be resolved before V31 can proceed. So that review is still ongoing. And when the Security Council reaches a decision, it will be communicated publicly. So unfortunately, I don't have any more information for you than that, other than V31 is currently delayed, pending an ongoing Security Council review of the call data in the upgrade. So again, I feel like we have explained these upgrades in the past, and I think that people kind of maybe don't understand, but TLDR is that these protocol upgrades are giant upgrades that affect the entire system and affect every single chain on ZK Sync. So Security Council is always like, it's better to be more cautious and check everything and double check everything. And if you find any issues, then work on them and fix them, instead of just rushing out a upgrade that could unintentionally harm the system. So it's currently under review and it's currently delayed, and the Security Council should have more information for us as soon as it is finished with their review process. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't give you more information than that, but it is in the good hands in the Security Council, and we will be waiting to hear back from them once their review is concluded.
Okay, great. Let me just stop sharing my screen. Okay, I think with that, I don't know if I have any other oh yeah, so let's talk about this call overall. So I think that there's a couple of things. So initially, when we envisioned this call 2 years ago, we had talked about using this time to basically go through proposals on the forum and proposals on chain and other types of news. I was kind of curious from your guys, what feedback would you have? Do you think that the call should continue in the same format, or if we should change anything? I have some ideas, so you might see some experimentation over the next couple months with regards to it. But I want to invite people who are on the call, but also people who might be listening to this update later on, to please reach out and let us know. Okay, so if anybody has any comments, let us know. And then otherwise we can wrap up.
I can briefly share just my experience as a delegate in a lot of different ecosystems and what I think works. Um, in general, it's a lot of ecosystems as well have been reducing the number of calls as less people have been joining those calls. So it doesn't always make sense to continue having them. However, it is important to have a call. I've
Mhm.
seen calls become consolidated. So maybe if there's three or four other calls, they're now just one single call opportunity to give people chance to share. I think just judging from the ZK Sync forum, it seems like the community is just interested in getting updates. So I think having a call for updates, having a call to invite people from um, the ZK ecosystem to talk about the roadmap, that would be helpful. If there's anything else that comes to mind, I'll share it on the forum, but this is kind of what I'm thinking now. Hope
Yeah.
that was helpful.
I think, Stephen, something that we can talk about a little bit later is it might be worthwhile to start beginning to get a bit of, maybe we can even coordinate a bit of demos with regards to the Providium, because I think that, when ZK Sync started like 2 years ago, there's been a lot of new functionality that's kind of like been deployed over the last 2 years. And maybe it's a bit of time to kind of like re-go through it. Maybe we need to talk about Airbender and ETH proofs and how we hit at the top of the leaderboard. Information that the delegates may not be coming across organically, on Twitter, that we might need to sync up on. I know I'm neck deep in ZK Sync news, but it might be worthwhile to start thinking about, some product education as well. So that I'm just thinking, even to be able to like better participate in the protocol upgrade process and better understand like the functionality extensions that we have.
Yeah, for sure. We have, I mean, I've been at ZK Sync for 2 years, a bit over 2 years now, and we have changed a lot in the last 2 years. So there's always new products coming out, and I can totally understand how some people might be a bit confused about Providiums or about Airbender or about Atlas or about the institutional direction that we're in and what products we're specifically building for that, specifically atomic interop, like the private interop for institutions. That's what is, I would say, our biggest product that's upcoming that institutions are super excited about, but maybe people don't know super deeply about. We do have demos. I'll check in with our product team and our BD team and make sure that whatever demos I share are okay for the public. Because
Yeah.
obviously there's certain things that can't be shared, right? But yeah, there's a lot there's a lot cooking in the background. I know it's been quiet for the last couple of months or so, but the thing is that we are heavily focused on banks and financial institutions, and these guys are, the sales cycles and news cycles for these guys are a lot longer than, unfortunately, they're a lot longer than how it works with typical crypto companies. So like a crypto company, you hop in a Telegram, you chat with them for a little bit, and you can get deals done and signed and launched in like a few weeks. Whereas with a bank or a financial institution, this is months and months and up to quarters or potentially even a year. So that's why it takes a little while. But yeah, I totally hear you and I agree. I think that sharing product updates would be super beneficial for the community. And I'll chat with the product team to see if we can get any demos that we can share publicly.
Okay. Rika?
I wanted to add that I've been thinking about governance on a more high level. Like why would an enterprise or a crypto company even, why would you want to participate in governance and spend the time doing it? And came to realization that I already knew because I'm very active, but I think other people don't understand this, that governance has an impact on their business. And there are decisions that are being made that they have the ability to influence if only they knew about it and if they knew how. And it's kind of like this secret maybe that people don't understand. And I think that if they do, it would really help. So one thing that I'm very passionate about trying to do in this next cycle, as it seems to be arriving soon, is like, how do we educate the enterprises and even the existing crypto protocols about, hey, like there's these really important decisions that are being made that are going to be made if you are here or if you are not. And if you are here, it would be super useful. And if you're not, then you're missing out. So like that's I think that's something that we should be focusing on here, I guessing.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There's one thing that we've been noticing in our calls with institutions, and that the knowledge gap is wide. Some institutions are really on the ball and they know everything that's going on, and others you have to walk them through basically everything from A to Z, essentially. And I think that informing people on governance is super important. Something that I think that should be noted, that a lot of institutions actually, why they gravitate so closely to Ethereum and Ethereum L2s is because one of their biggest priorities is neutrality and being able to essentially not be, under the whim of one entity, right? So this is also where decentralized governments comes into play, which is super important. They don't want their business to be able to get completely taken over by a single entity that controls the system, right? So they're all for actually neutrality. And it's kind of funny because I've seen some institutional players be more interested in basically decentralization than crypto natives about whether it's centralized or decentralized. So it's just an interesting observation that I've noticed. But yeah, happy to chat more about it and dive deeper into it.
Yeah, awesome. I would be up for that as well.
Okay. I think with that, we'll wrap up the call. Yeah, we'll stay in touch. As soon as we know stuff, we'll bring it up on the call. And as far as I know, we'll do the next call in 2 weeks. And hopefully I'll come up with some ideas between now and then for some experiments on how we might think about changing the format. All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.